In this citizens' conversation, we must, at the point of electing a new leadership, make sure that we are also clear on the system of governance. Are we being undermined by the party system so that when people are elected, they are more beholden to their political party than to the people who elected them? Look at William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza members of parliament. First, they go to parliament. Kenyans give them their views. 99% of the memorandum and the people appear before them tell them this finance bill is bad, reject it. They ignore. In fact, Kimani of Molo has the audacity to say we will not even touch that question of motor vehicle circulation tax. That thing must be in that bill. They proceed to pass it. Then upon the people of Kenya putting pressure and William Ruto, even in people invading parliament, William Ruto decides to renege. Then he calls those members of parliament, and you see all of them clapping behind him, gleefully happy, and saying that that's a good decision he has made to reject. Why did we have to lose Kenyans to get to that space? Anybody who is occupying a position of leadership, a position in trust, to whom 9 Kenyans must die before his wrong can be corrected, does not deserve to sit in any public office in this country. Those members of parliament are cast, and I cast them. And I say this, Kenyans must continue denying them audience in whatever space they appear, because they are no longer representing the collective will of the people who voted them. And I want to urge us, sometimes I see some of our compatriots attacking those who voted for Kenya Kwanza or those who voted for some of these MPs. The fact that somebody voted for Kenya Kwanza or an MP, don't take it that he is now beholden to that person. When somebody has withdrawn his vote, his support, we urge them to join the movement, because our enemy is not that person who voted. Maybe he was misled. He was lied to on election day. But now he has seen the folly of his ways and he has seen through. It's even encouraged that when somebody recalls his vote and says that this MP is no longer representing what I voted for, that is a person that becomes an ally, and you help him in his fight against his MP. So let's avoid cross-party or cross-voting attacks against each other. Our common enemy is William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza. Those are the people who have put us in this pain. The final point I want to make, the question that we are facing as a country, which William Ruto and his people are trying to avoid dealing with, is the question of debt. These people took debt from the year 2014. Part of that debt didn't land in Kenya. I'll pick the Eurobonds, for example. They took $2 billion US dollars Eurobond. At that time, Jacob Juma, there's a gentleman, I think it's called Owiti, and even David Ndii was in that group. ODM convened them, and they went through to trace the movement of that money. And Raila at that point even threatened to lead Kenyans to storm Treasury building, to release where the money went. Upon that threat, Treasury released the first proof of payment. They released the RTGS form, which showed 1 billion US dollars was used to settle part of a loan that would be taken by Kibaki, and part of that money was paid into a CBK account. Correct, accounted for. The second part, 1 billion US dollars, at that time is almost 100 billion Kenya shillings. When they demanded for the information to be released, they released a form. It's in the public domain to date. And that form shows money moving from JP Morgan to another bank, and the account to which it is going in Qatar is redacted. You cannot see the name of the person to whom that money is being made. That is 1 billion US dollars in your debt books. In other words, somebody went to America or to the European market and took a Eurobond of 2 billion US dollars in your name. He made you to be responsible for paying that debt. And he did not apply that money to any project in Kenya. He did not procure parliamentary approval for that money. But what the Kenyan people ended up with is a responsibility to pay for that money. We did pay for that money sometimes, I think it was in end of June. And at that time now, when we were paying for it, we refinanced it. We took a fresh one at an interest rate of 10.35%. At the time of taking in 2014, the interest rate was 6%. And there are so many other such loans which are taken in our name. If you go to our PFM Act, it is very clear. You can only borrow money for a project. You only borrow money for development. You are seeing Kenyan government every day issuing, every week they issue treasury bonds and bills. They're telling you this bond and bill is going to finance which project. You are just saying 20 billion floated. People take out that loan and they come back to you. When the bank takes the loans, they're taking your money, using my money that I have deposited in the bank. Then they go to my government to take a treasury bill or bond that is not pegged on any project. Government takes it to eat it. Once they eat that money, the government comes to me and you and collects an exorbitant interest rate to pay for that loan. Now, interest rate is at 16%. When they take that interest rate of 16%, they do two things. Number one, you are burdened with the high interest rate that you're going to pay from your tax money. And number two, even if you wanted to do your own project as an individual, they know here I wanted to go and expand his food business. He goes to the bank tells him, they know, I will only give you a loan at an interest rate of 22%. Why? Because the bank prefers to lend money to government because government will pay for that money and will come back to the people of Kenya as a sovereign to cushion it. They know it's seen as now a credit risk. In fact, you are not even wanted in that banking space. Now, many Kenyans cannot access capital because of government borrowing illegally in the domestic market, burdening Kenyans with high interest rates and denying them an opportunity to even borrow for their own private ventures. That is why you are not seeing any development. What today, as we speak, what is stimulating development in this country? If government is not doing any project, where's the flow of money? When I'm not putting up, expanding my law firm, or somebody is not expanding his business, where's the flow of money? Because I go to a bank to take a loan to put up a fish farm in Kisumu. That bank will tell me they want an interest rate of 20%, 25%. Why? Because government is borrowing at 16%, 17%. They rather lend to government. Now, I cannot access that credit. The government money that was borrowed was used to Fuliza, to eat. Was not used to build a road, to build a bridge, to build a dam. It was all eaten. So we must be very careful as a country and decide, number one, any money that has been borrowed in our names that was not done in a way that conforms with our laws, that money, we have no responsibility to pay for it. It is an odious debt. If we go that route, and I do remember when I was in Mozambique, when President Nyusi had just been elected, there was something that had been taken similar to our Eurobond. It was called tuna bond. Again, $2 billion US that was taken in the name of the people of Mozambique. The money never came into Mozambique. They were only told to pay for it. So some public-spirited members of the public, civil society groups, went to court and they sued the Attorney General and their parliament. Their parliament was saying that tuna bond is legal. We must pay for it. The AG was saying that tuna bond must be paid for. But the people of Mozambique were saying no. Where was parliamentary approval for tuna bond to be taken? Bring it to court. None existed. The court in Mozambique said that loan is illegal, it is odious, and the people of Mozambique will not have to pay for it. Do you know what happened? Credit Suisse collapsed. They had to pay that money. So even as we must look into our debt books and say, anybody who took money in our name without following our laws, you took money that didn't apply to any project. It is not the responsibility of the people of Kenya to pay for that loan. We must unshackle ourselves from this yoke of oppression, both internationally and locally. Internationally, they are the Eurobonders, that is the Paris Club, the London Sovereign Group. Locally are the domestic banks. We must start asking them, when you are taking a loan from the Kenyan government, what is the project that loan is funding, number one? Number two, where is the parliamentary approval for that loan that allows government to float a bond or a bill? You saw William Ruto saying, because you rejected finance bill, I will now borrow 1 trillion Kenya shillings. I mean, how can someone casually commit the people of Kenya to take a loan of 1 trillion Kenya shillings? He's not even told you what loan, what project does he want to fund. He's not even told you where the parliamentary approval, but he's telling you, I'm going to take a loan of 1 trillion Kenya shillings. You people of Kenya, you must pay for it. You must tell him no. We are a country of the rule of law. The sovereign people of Kenya have even said in rejecting the finance bill, if you think that this country will only develop through loans, then suspend that development. We don't need it at this particular point because you are taking these loans and applying it to things that don't matter to the people. You are not building any new road. You are not building any new bridge. You are not building any new dam. So we must be able to call him to order.